let me show you the easiest dragon scales that you'll ever make. Soap, water, and this. The best part is that you don't need any fancy tools for this effect. So it works whether you have been working on tumblers for a while now or if this is your very first tumbler. If you still have any questions by the time this video is done, please feel free to leave me a comment and I will reply to you as soon as I can. Okay, let's jump into it. Here I have the tumbler already cleaned and ready to go. Now there has been a debate whether you should sand your cups or not. To me, it's just a personal preference. I haven't had any issues either way, so it's up to you. But I am spray painting it with Rust-Oleum 2X and black. You can paint it whatever color you want. There's different types of, or different colors of dragons, so use your imagination. You just want to make sure you have really good coverage for the whole tumbler. We let the spray paint degas for a few minutes. Now we're ready to start making our dragon scales. I like to use this rubber, not rubber, but silicone spatula. It's easy to clean after you're done. What we're spreading here is some UV resin. You can take your favorite UV resin. I'm using Let's Resin brand and just starting in small sections. Make sure that you put some paper towels or a towel underneath the cup because the next part can get a little messy but fun. Do you remember when you were a kid and the adults always got onto you for blowing bubbles in your drink when you had a straw? It was fun. So now that we're adults, we can do that because we want to. Now here you see me scooping out a lot of the little bubbles that were created when I put the water in. And it's just regular dish soap, nothing fancy, just your regular liquid dish soap and some water. Don't worry about the temperature, it's just whatever you can tolerate. Room temperature is perfect. So I scooped up all the little bubbles because those can be a pain to epoxy. You can gather a lot of little bubbles in there and those are hard to get rid of once you've epoxied. So for me, I like the larger bubbles better because it creates those dramatic scales and they're easier to epoxy. So every time you do a little section, you want to cure that before you move on to the next section. Now for the specific UV light that I'm using, I like to cure the UV resin for 2 minutes at a time per section. I'm going to go ahead and speed the rest of this video or this section because I don't want to bore you guys. But basically we're just repeating the same thing. Do the UV resin, small sections, then you do the bubbles and cure for 1 to 2 minutes at a time. Here you can start to see the dragon scale. I don't know about you guys, but I find it so satisfying to watch those bubbles pop underneath the light. Now we've completed the whole cup and it is ready for the next step. This cup is going to be so cool. Remember how I said that the spatula was going to be easy to clean? You just put it underneath the UV light for a minute or two and then just peel off the cured UV resin and it's all clean and ready to go for next time. So we just finished working with water and soap. So there's going to be a lot of moisture. Normally I like to let my tumbler sit overnight. However, for the purpose of this video, I am applying some heat using our heat gun. If you've made it this far into the video, I appreciate you for being here. Would you mind hitting that follow button if you haven't already, and hit that bell to be notified anytime we upload a new video. It would really help push our channel out. So you like dragon scales? Do you read dragon books? I have friends of mine that keep pushing me to read Fourth Wing books. Have you read them yet? Are they worth reading? For this step, we are using our repositional glue. It is an adhesive that becomes more tacky the more it dries. We're using this to apply our pigments and flakes. Now you'll know it will be dried when the glue has become clear. You'll want to apply it to the whole tumbler and don't forget the bottom. Make sure you get into all the little crevices of the scales. Normally this glue will dry in about 10 to 15 minutes depending on your room temperature. For the purpose of this video, I'm applying some heat using our heat gun. If you decide to use the heat gun, make sure that you move the heat gun around. You don't want to hold it in place because it will cause the glue to repel off the cup and you don't want that. Okay, so now that the adhesive has totally dried, we are ready to apply some color to this cup. I'm super excited for these colors. Now I'm taking some tweezers and just grabbing these flakes. They are a color shift. I think will go perfect with the decal I've selected. So this is going to be gorgeous. And you just place them in random areas. Doesn't need to be anything perfect, just wherever you want to place them. Oh, and a special tip. So sometimes if you apply the epoxy a little thick, you might get what I call the pokies. They kind of stick up and they might hurt when you go to apply your epoxy. So if you do get those, just grab some tweezers and some clippers and just clip those off. Our cup doesn't look like it had any, so we're ready to apply some pigment colors. These are some color shifts. I love these colors. I'm just kind of sprinkling them in before I start to burnish them. Remember to clean your brush in between colors. You don't want to cross-contaminate your pigments in the jars. And then just have fun with your pigments. I had no rhyme or reason of placing the colors, just kind of at random. So just have fun with it. So if you do love dragons, what is your favorite color of dragons? Do you have a name for them? Just curious. Look at those colors. Those color shifts are so gorgeous. I love them. Now we're ready to seal in our pigments and flakes. Normally, if I only use pigments, I don't normally seal, but because we're using flakes as well, I want to make sure that those stay in place. We did varnish it on the cup using the adhesive, but sometimes there might be some loose ones that kind of did not touch the adhesive, if that makes sense. So we're going through the entire cup and sealing the pigments in before we go to epoxy. Usually you let the sealer just dry for about 10 minutes and it should be good to go. Don't forget the bottom. Ooh, here's a little close-up look at those scales and those colors. I'm so in love. So I'm going to put 2 coats of epoxy before we move on to the next step. What do you think of this cup so far? Leave me a comment and let me know what your thoughts are. So if you're like me and forget to tape off the rim of the cup, this is a really handy tool to have. So what I'm going to do first is heat up the rim all the way around, and then that kind of loosens up the epoxy and it makes it easier to trim off. So you just press it against the blade and go all the way around the cup. Now the reason we do this is because you want to leave a little bit of that stainless steel exposed, so that way the epoxy has something to adhere to. We've put a lot of product on this cup, so the epoxy is laying on top of that product. You want the epoxy to adhere to the stainless steel so it doesn't separate from the cup. Now you have that trimmed up. It's perfectly even all the way around the cup. And now what you want to do is take an X-Acto knife and cut it, and then it just kind of all peels off like butter. Also, don't forget to clean the very top of the tumbler. You don't want any epoxy sitting on there because people drink out of that. So make sure to clean that up as well. Now you have a really nice clean rim, and the tumbler you want the tumbler to be very smooth before you apply your UV-DTF, because if it's not, you're going to see some bumps and could separate. So you want it to be as smooth as possible. So if you need to sand it down between coats, do that, but you want it to be perfectly smooth. Now to find the placement of this UV-DTF, what do you think of this image? I thought it fit perfect with our dragon scales that we just created, and here I am just trying to find the perfect placement for it because I want some of those flakes to show, but I don't want to hide too much of it, so I'm trying to find the perfect place. Do you guys do the same thing? Just kind of look at it and move it and look at it, or is that just me? I don't know. But here I am trying to get it on as perfectly as possible. When you're working with UV-DTFs, you cannot place it on a cup or touch any of the surface. Otherwise, if you try to remove it because you placed it wrong, you will crack the image. So once it's on there, it is on there. So what I did is I removed a little bit of that backing, just the clear part, so I can move it around if I needed to until I find that perfect spot. So I've decided where I'm going to place it, and what I'm doing here is just kind of going back and forth, using a squeegee, the felt tip side of it, so to avoid any scratches or any cracks onto that UV-DTF, because it's gorgeous. So I'm just kind of pressing it back and forth to make sure it adheres to the cup, to the epoxy, and then you just peel your transfer tape off. Okay, so now that I've placed the UV-DTF on there, I also added some words on the back part, so not to leave it blank. So you may have noticed that the cup did look a little dull because I had sanded it, and don't worry, it's perfectly normal. Once you go to apply your epoxy, it will bring those colors back to life. So don't worry about that, don't stress over it. Now I did go over the UV-DTF sections with our Seal the Deal sealer, because sometimes the UV-DTF, the inks that they use, sometimes can repel the epoxy that you're using. So there may be a chemical reaction between the two. So what I do is I like to apply the sealer in between to protect both. Now I'm going over it with another coat of epoxy. As you can see, those colors are coming back to life. I am so in love with these colors. I like to add at least one coat of epoxy before I go to do any kind of pinstriping. I just don't like sometimes how the pinstriping, you'll be able to see where it raises from the UV-DTF or the vinyl that you're using. So I like mine to look smooth as possible. So I'm going to apply one coat and then it will pinstripe it. Alright, I did the pinstriping, I sealed the pinstriping, and then applied 2 coats of epoxy, and now she is done. What do you guys think about this cup? Look at those dragon scales, and the color shift is gorgeous. I'm so in love with this cup. And the UV-DTF is perfect with these colors. And in between the panels, look at that. I'm so in love with this. What do you guys think of this cup? Will you be trying this technique, or have you tried this technique before? I'm listing all the products that were used in this video in the comment section. I appreciate you guys for staying and watching. Don't forget to hit that like button.